Fantastic. I saw the first 2 episodes.
Oh, thank you.
I was so upset that I couldn't have more episodes to watch and devour. They were so good. In creating the show, or not creating it, but doing the show and writing for it too, what drew you to wanting to do this type of series when you've come from the supernatural world? So.
I think it was the fact that it was not supernatural, but still had a very clear monster. You know, I love writing character stories, and in this television climate, it's easier and often more successful when you could tell a beautiful love story with a monster looming large, and that to me is what drew me to this, because I could dabble in the life or death stakes and make things really intense and really scary without having to make them mystical as well.
Was this a hard show to cast?
No, it actually wasn't a hard show to cast. Thank God. I think that it was filled with lots of really wonderful surprises. Like, the famous story about David Gyasi, who plays Lex, is that we had a guy that we were ready to cast, and all that was left for him to get the job was to walk into the studio and audition in front of the studio heads and the network heads. And that morning, David Gyasi got off a plane from London to come do pilot season, walked into our room just to read at the last minute, and blew us away so much that we changed everything about how we were going to put this cast together based on that moment. And it was well deserved, because he's a truly spectacular actor. We feel incredibly lucky that we got him. We feel like we got a little secret that nobody had gotten to meet yet, and that we have a really phenomenal actor on our hands.
What I was saying to the other cast and the producers was that you start to immediately care about the characters, even in the first episode, which is not easy to do. And the way they're written and the way that these actors play their characters, it's so organic and fluid that you feel like you're just kind of like a fly on the wall watching them go through this ordeal.
Yes.
Because they really, the writing is fantastic, and I really love the organic way that the characters have been developed over even just the 2 episodes that I watched.
Well, I'll tell you, you can thank the Belgian series for that. I think in an ensemble show that is based around an event, the hardest thing to do is to capture that slice of life of the characters in a way that doesn't seem like you're forcing anything, pushing too hard, trying to be too kitschy or too quippy, or but you've got like half a page to a page and a half to define who they are in the first act of your pilot. And the Belgian series did a really great job. So I lifted a lot of what they did right from the top, because I found it so successful. And it was successful in its simplicity and how sparse it was, and they didn't put forth much effort in feeling like they had to explain too much about these people, and that's what I liked about it. You got like a little peek through the window of who they were, and then it's up to the season to let you flesh them out, and so you kind of inherently care about them from the beginning, because in a weird way they're a little bit like a piece of all of us, which I liked.
Who's your favorite character to write?
I do. I like to write for all of them. I think that Leo is probably a favorite because he's so unpredictable. And Trevor is really talented, like deeply, deeply talented, and very trained as an actor. And so anything you put in his mouth, he's going to do really well. But he's got such a chip on his shoulder, and he's got a really wicked sense of humor, and he's so annoyed by everything, and it just has no tolerance for any bullshit, and it's just a guy that wants the truth and doesn't really care who he offends along the way. And I always think what it must be like to be that person, who's just like, you don't like me, that's your problem, and I love that about him.
So you said that, you really liked writing for this because it's a monster, but it's not a monster,
Yeah.
So, it's kind of hard to sell a disease show to the average kind of movie popcorn viewer.
The WonderCon, consumer, yes.
Yeah, but, I'm kind of interested in, how this idea of like a monster that's not a monster affected your writing process. As someone who hasn't seen the show yet, all of my readers haven't seen the show yet, how does that influence what kind of character drama you're creating, and also the world that you're making?
Well, what's funny is my background, one of my first jobs was for Wes Craven. And Wes was really, really good visually setting the tone for suspense and scare. And there's a bag of tricks that, that work really nicely, It has to do with the way you creep up behind someone on a steady cam, or the way that you draw them into the room. It's how you see a big space where there's nothing, and then you cut back and there's someone right in front of you. And there's a visual rhythm and a language to doing good horror and good suspense that I kind of got to watch him do. And then of course Kevin Williamson, who I worked with for years, made his whole career out of the scare and tension and how to make you terrified of the masked figure in the shadows. And so to me, this was using exactly the same tools. The monster is under your bed in the show all the time. It's in the person that you might touch. It's in the door that you might open and who's on the other side. It's, someone could leap out at you from an alley, grab you, and you're dead, And I think that in that way, it's actually so simple as a suspense vehicle. And then you add on the kind of cool side of it, cool, relatively speaking, and that it could actually happen. So you get to play in that great world of horror and genre, and the Freddy Krueger and the Jason and the Michael, and you get to use all those fun tricks, but you're also delivering this like weird, fucked up wish fulfillment of what would happen and what would I do in this situation and how would I be the cowboy and survive the killer. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to write it like that. It really is. And we had rules that every episode needed to have the 3 H's: heart, horror, and holy shit. The holy shit being like, what's the surprise or what's the big wow or whatever. But horror, we made sure that we treated that with as much respect as we did the humanity.
Thank you.
Thank you.